At dinner, my sister Emily Harper leaned across the table, her voice dripping with scorn. "Why are you so completely incompetent at everything?" she mocked. The words cut deep, each syllable a knife twisting in my chest. My parents sat silent, their eyes fixed on their plates. I met Emily's gaze, my voice steady but burning. How? The room fell still, a heavy silence swallowing her smirk. That moment ignited something in me, a fire to uncover the truth behind her cruelty and my family's betrayal. I'm Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, a naval officer, and this is my story of fighting for justice against the people who should have protected me. If you've ever faced a family betrayal that shook your world, share your story in the comments below. Subscribe to Chosen Revenge for more tales of triumph over family drama and revenge. The heavy steel gate of Naval Base San Diego clanged shut behind me, sealing me in with a silence that wasn't empty. It was thick, oppressive, like the humid air before a storm. I was Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, 35 years old, once a rising star in radar systems engineering. Now I was a ghost walking through my own past. The corridor to the operations center stretched ahead, lined with sailors and officers who turned to stare. Their eyes weren't friendly. They were sharp, predatory, like sharks circling a wounded fish. Whispers slithered through the air. "That's her, Mitchell's daughter, the one who botched the Triton radar system." The words stung, each one a pinprick to my skin. I kept my spine straight, my boots clicking on the polished floor, every step echoing like a gunshot in the quiet. I wasn't here for their approval. I was here to fix what they couldn't. In the operations center, the main screen glowed with red alerts, warning of the Triton system's failure. Commander James Larson stood at the center, his posture rigid, his face a mask of smug authority. He was my father's right-hand man, Captain Robert Mitchell, a retired naval officer whose shadow still loomed over this base. Larson didn't look at me at first. He was performing, and I was the opening act for his show. He let me stand there, exposed, as the room's judgment washed over me. I counted the seconds. 10, 15. Then he turned, his eyes scanning me like I was a faulty circuit board. His lips curled into a smirk. "Lieutenant Mitchell," he said, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Who let this liability back in here?" The room erupted in a low, cruel chuckle. It wasn't laughter. It was a weapon designed to strip me bare. My hands clenched at my sides, but I didn't flinch. I'd heard that sound before. 15 years ago, I stood on a stage at the Naval Academy Science Symposium, my heart pounding with pride. I was 20, my hair pulled back in a tight bun, my cadet uniform crisp. I'd just won first place for a radar signal optimization algorithm I'd coded in my dorm room. It was groundbreaking, a system that could detect stealth submarines with unprecedented accuracy. The auditorium was packed with officers, professors, and my family in the front row. My sister, Emily Harper, sat there, her arms crossed, her face bored. She was 24, already a rising star in her law firm, the golden child of the Mitchell family. My father, Captain Robert Mitchell, was invited to speak. He strode to the podium, his dress whites immaculate, his voice booming with authority. He spoke of teamwork, of naval tradition, of the Mitchell legacy. Then he gestured to Emily. "Sarah's success," he said, "is a testament to Emily's guidance, her leadership in keeping this project on track." The applause was deafening. They were clapping for Emily, who'd done nothing but proofread my abstract the night before. I stood there, clutching my award, invisible. My father had erased me, handed my work to his favorite daughter. Emily smiled, accepting the praise as if it were her birthright. That night, in the guest quarters, Emily found me. "Nice job, sis," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "We make a good team." She didn't see the theft. She didn't care. To her, my work was just another stepping stone for her career. My mother, Laura Mitchell, said nothing, her silence a quiet endorsement of the lie. Only my uncle, Daniel Carter, a soft-spoken maritime engineer, saw the truth. He drove 8 hours from Seattle to be there. He didn't speak much. He just sat beside me, his calloused hand resting on my algorithm printouts. "They can clap for stories," he said, his voice low and steady. "But machines don't lie, Sarah. You built this. You're a signal whisperer." His words were a lifeline, a quiet fortress in my soul. They reminded me my worth wasn't in their applause, but in the truth of my code. That fortress couldn't pay the bills. After the Triton disaster, I was forced out of the Navy, my career in ruins. I took every penny I'd saved and leased a rundown shipyard on the edge of San Diego, Bay 12. It was my empire of rust and saltwater. The air smelled of diesel and seaweed, the floor stained with years of grease. My tools were secondhand, my radio crackled with old rock tunes, and my coffee was bitter from a cheap machine. I fixed outboard motors for local fishermen, patched hulls on aging yachts, rebuilt navigation systems older than my parents. It was grueling, honest work. The men who came to me doubted me at first. A wiry woman with tired blue eyes? They didn't think I could handle their boats. One fisherman, a grizzled man named Tom, tossed his keys onto my workbench. "Don't make it worse," he growled. I didn't argue. I worked 16 hours straight, my hands blistered, my face smeared with oil. When I started his engine, it purred like it was brand new. He stared at it, then at me, his scowl softening into respect. He paid in cash and left without a word. That was a good day. One evening, after wrestling a stubborn propeller shaft, I sat on a crate, sipping a cold beer, the kind you buy in a six-pack at a gas station. My phone buzzed with an email from Emily. The subject, big news. She was boasting about her promotion to partner at her law firm, crediting her innovative strategies for case management. I recognized those strategies. I'd outlined them for her years ago, late at night, when she was panicking over a law school project. The beer tasted sour now, mixed with the familiar sting of injustice. She was climbing the ladder on my ideas while I was scraping by in the dirt. I deleted the email, the anger simmering but not consuming me. I turned to a side project, a battered sonar system from a decommissioned Coast Guard cutter. Everyone said it was junk. I worked through the night, my hands tracing the wiring, listening to its faint hum. By dawn, it was alive, its signals crisp and clear. That victory was mine, silent but real. My quiet victories in Bay 12 didn't stay quiet. Word spread among fishermen and small boat owners. A woman who could fix the unfixable was worth knowing. A year later, an email arrived, its sender a string of encrypted characters. The message was blunt. "We have a technical issue. Your expertise is required. Discretion mandatory. A car will arrive at 0700 tomorrow." My Navy instincts screamed caution, but the engineer in me was curious. I replied with one word: confirmed. At exactly 7, a black SUV pulled up, its engine silent as a predator. It drove me to a remote pier where a nondescript warehouse hid a state-of-the-art lab. A woman greeted me, petite, with salt and pepper hair and a tight bun. "Catherine," she said, shaking my hand firmly. Dr. Catherine Reynolds, a naval technology advisor, radiated authority. She led me to a prototype radar system, its design a direct descendant of my old work. "They say it's dead," she said, her voice calm. "What do you think?" I ran my hands over the console, feeling its pulse. This wasn't just a job. This was my chance to listen again. In that hidden lab, surrounded by the hum of servers, I felt alive again. The prototype radar system sat before me, its sleek panels hiding a familiar architecture, my architecture, twisted into something unstable. Dr. Catherine Reynolds watched me work, her shark eyes missing nothing. I didn't just read the diagnostic logs. I listened to the system, my hands tracing its circuits, feeling the faint vibrations of its signals. After 2 sleepless days, I found it, a glitch in the signal modulation cycle, so subtle the automated tests ignored it. It wasn't a hardware failure, it was a calibration error, a deliberate one. My heart raced. This wasn't an accident. Someone had tampered with my design. Back in my temporary quarters at the base, I accessed the Navy's internal network using old intelligence training. I didn't break in with force. I slipped through like a shadow, mimicking a low-level admin's credentials. I wasn't hunting classified files. That would have triggered alarms. I searched the archives, the forgotten maintenance logs, the data caches no one bothered to clean. Hours passed, my fingers flying across the keyboard, my pulse pounding with adrenaline and dread. Then I found it, buried in an obscure folder labeled Triton Calibration Backup Q2. A log detailed changes to my original 6-stage signal processing protocol. It had been replaced with a crude 2-stage system, guaranteed to overload under pressure. The authorization signature stopped my breath. Captain Robert Mitchell, 02:17 a.m., the night before the Triton's radar failed, causing the collision. My father had done this himself. My hand covered my mouth, stifling a gasp. This wasn't negligence, it was sabotage. I kept digging, chasing data fragments linked to that timestamp. Then I found the smoking gun, a scanned copy of my original radar schematic with a handwritten note in my father's sharp script. Signal parameters adjusted per Commander Larson's efficiency recommendation, RM. It was a lie. Larson, his loyal protege, would never suggest something so fundamentally flawed. It violated basic signal processing principles. My father had forged the note, framing Larson to cover his tracks while pinning the blame on me. The betrayal burned, a white-hot rage that steadied my shaking hands. I copied every file, logs, schematics, the note, onto an encrypted flash drive. It felt like holding a grenade. That night, my phone rang, a blocked number, but I knew it was him. My father's voice was calm, patronizing, like he was lecturing a child. "Sarah, you're stirring up trouble with Larson's team," he said, smooth as glass. "You're digging into things settled years ago. It's disruptive. You're just a consultant here. Stay in your lane." His words were a cage, meant to shrink me. I gripped the phone, my voice cold. "My lane is the truth, Captain Mitchell. I know you altered the Triton system. I know what you did." A pause, heavy with his shock. Then his tone hardened. "I refined it," he said. "Your design was reckless, untested. I made it safer. Don't make this worse with your arrogance." It was a masterclass in manipulation, painting himself as the hero, me as the fool. I hung up, my chest tight with fury. Minutes later, my phone rang again. My mother, Laura Mitchell. No greeting, just tears, rehearsed and sharp. "Sarah, why are you doing this?" she sobbed. "Your father's career, our family's reputation, it's all at stake. Think of Emily, her future. Stop this selfishness." Her words were a calculated strike, twisting my fight for truth into betrayal. She'd never defended me, always siding with my father, enabling his lies. Something inside me snapped. "Mom," I said, my voice steady, cold as steel. "The family's reputation died 3 years ago when you all chose lies over me. I'm done stepping back." I ended the call, my hand trembling not with fear, but with a clarity that cut through decades of pain. My mother wasn't the storm. She was the silence that let it rage. Sleep was impossible. The rage had hardened into purpose. I needed more than files. I needed undeniable proof. At dawn, I sat at my secure terminal, the screen's glow casting shadows on my face. I was no longer the consultant, the daughter, the victim. I was a hunter. Drawing on every skill I'd honed in the Navy, I scoured the network again, tracing every digital footprint of that fatal night. Then a soft knock broke my focus. Thomas Lee, a young data analyst from Larson's team, stood in the doorway, his face pale, his eyes darting nervously. "Lieutenant Mitchell," he whispered, still using my old rank. I saw something 3 years ago. I was on the data team after the Triton crash. I saved the original signal logs before they were erased." He held out a USB drive, his hand shaking. "This is the unedited data from the crash day. I kept it. It felt wrong to let it go." I took the drive, its warmth a testament to his fear. "Thank you, Thomas," I said, my voice calm, offering the reassurance he needed. "You're doing the right thing." He nodded, almost fleeing the room. The drive held the final piece, raw data showing my original system was stable until my father's changes destabilized it. I had the before and after, the truth and the lie. But files alone wouldn't win this war. In a world of politics and power, I needed a stage. I found an empty briefing room, its whiteboard gleaming under harsh lights. I picked up a marker, its click loud in the silence, and began to draw. From memory, I recreated the Triton's original radar system, every signal pathway, every calibration loop, every precise parameter. My hand moved with certainty, each line a testament to my truth. This wasn't just a diagram. It was a resurrection, a public declaration of what they'd destroyed. As I finished, a shadow crossed the board. Commander James Larson stood in the doorway, arms crossed, a sneer twisting his face. "Still doodling, Mitchell?" he mocked. "This isn't some fishing boat you can patch up. This is the Navy." I didn't look at him. I kept drawing, adding my signature in the corner, Sarah E. Mitchell. The whiteboard was no longer just a tool. It was a challenge, a silent accusation no one could ignore. I knew they'd have to answer it. Catherine Reynolds saw the board during her morning rounds. After a brief meeting where I showed her the encrypted drive, she scheduled an emergency review for that afternoon. My father, unable to defy her authority, turned it into a trap. He invited defense reporters, framing it as a test of the Triton system's stability under his leadership. He thought he'd bury me in public. I was ready to turn his stage into my arena.
Sarah Mitchell bước vào buổi họp báo tại căn cứ Hải quân San Diego, nơi cha cô, Captain Robert Mitchell và Commander James Lawson định biến cô thành trò cười trước truyền thông. Sarah chạy lại thiết kế radar Triton gốc, chứng minh sự hoàn hảo của nó, khiến cha và Lawson mất mặt. Sau vụ phanh phui, sự nghiệp của họ sụp đổ. Sarah đối mặt với em gái Emily và cha, cắt đứt quan hệ gia đình, trả lại kỷ vật hải quân và mở trung tâm đào tạo kỹ thuật cho cựu binh. Cô tìm thấy tự do và xây dựng di sản riêng, hòa mình vào bình yên của San Diego.
Kịch bản. The briefing room at Naval Base San Diego buzzed with tension, the air heavy as if charged with electricity. Reporters lined the back wall, their cameras poised, their notepads ready to capture my failure. Engineers stood at their stations, avoiding my gaze. In the center, like judges at a trial, stood my father, Captain Robert Mitchell, and Commander James Larson. Their faces radiated confidence, certain this was my end. I was Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, and this was no execution. This was my arena. My father gave the signal. "Run the current configuration," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of decades in command. The lead engineer started the simulation, my father's altered Triton radar system. On the main screen, the 3D model hummed to life, its signals spiking. For a moment, it held steady. Then amber warnings flashed. The numbers turned red, the system's pulse erratic. At 85 seconds, a crimson alert screamed across the screen. Critical failure, signal overload. Collision imminent. Larson hit the emergency stop, his face a mask of practiced calm. He turned to the reporters. As you see, we're addressing instabilities inherent in the original design, he said, his voice smooth, pinning the blame on me. My father nodded, his expression grave, sealing the lie. Dr. Catherine Reynolds stepped forward, her voice calm but sharp. Thank you, Commander. Now run the simulation with Lieutenant Mitchell's original configuration. My rank, she used my rank. A ripple went through the room. Larson's smirk faltered as I handed him my encrypted drive. He plugged it in, leaning close. Let's see your little trick, he whispered. The simulation restarted. The system rebelled at first, alarms blaring, red lights flashing across every console. The reporters murmured, pens scribbling furiously. Larson's eyes gleamed with triumph. But I was calm. I'd expected this. The system was adjusting to truth. Pause simulation, I said, my voice steady. I stepped to the main console, ignoring Larson's sneer, and adjusted 3 parameters: signal frequency, data throughput, and feedback calibration. I didn't need the screens. I felt the system's rhythm, its language. I was the signal whisperer. Resume, I commanded. The room held its breath. The alarms quieted one by one. Red lights shifted to amber, then green. The erratic pulse smoothed into a steady, powerful hum. The simulation clock passed 85 seconds, then 120, 180, 300. A full cycle, flawless, exceeding efficiency projections by 8%. The room was silent, the hum of the simulated system the only sound. The reporters lowered their cameras, their faces shifting from skepticism to awe. They turned their lenses on my father and Larson. Larson stood frozen, his jaw slack, the color gone from his face. My father's expression was stone, but his eyes burned with rage and disbelief. Their empire of lies had crumbled in 300 seconds of undeniable truth. The reporters didn't wait. Their articles hit the wires that night, calling it a coup of engineering brilliance. The Navy launched an investigation. My father was suspended pending review. Larson was fired for incompetence and misconduct. Their world, built on control and deception, collapsed like a wave against the shore. I didn't feel triumph. I felt empty, like the quiet after a storm. Days later, my phone rang. It was Emily, my sister. I hoped, for a foolish moment, she'd ask if I was okay. Instead, her voice was venom. "You destroyed him, Sarah," she screamed. "You ruined Dad, our family, everything. Do you know what this does to my career, my reputation?" She blamed me for her fallout, blind to the truth. I listened, silent as her rage poured out. When she paused, gasping, I spoke, my voice calm. "You never asked how I felt, Emily. Not 3 years ago, not now. Goodbye." I ended the call and blocked her number. The last thread of family snapped, and it didn't hurt. It was just quiet. A week later, I was back at Bay 12, wrist-deep in a yacht's navigation system, when a sedan pulled up. My father stepped out, no uniform, just a tired old man in civilian clothes. He looked smaller, his shoulders stooped. He didn't apologize. "I was protecting you, Sarah," he said, his voice hoarse. "Your design was too risky. I never meant for this." The same lies, repackaged. I raised a hand, oil-stained and steady. "Don't," I said. "You didn't protect me. You protected your legacy, your control." He opened his mouth, then closed it. He knew I was right. I reached for the silver anchor pin on my jacket, the one he'd given me at my commissioning. It symbolized duty, tradition, his world. I pulled it off and placed it in his palm. "I don't need this," I said. "I'm building my own legacy, one you can't break." I turned, walked into my shop, and lowered the heavy door. It closed with a clang, leaving him in the dust. A year later, freedom wasn't loud or explosive. It was quiet, like the San Diego tide at dusk. Bay 12 wasn't just a shop anymore. I'd bought the neighboring lot, expanded, and turned it into the Carter Maritime Institute, a nonprofit training program for female veterans. The air was alive with the clink of tools, the murmur of students, the smell of fresh coffee. I didn't teach from manuals. I taught them to listen, to feel the rhythm of machines, to trust their hands. One afternoon, I watched a young Coast Guard veteran struggle with a sonar calibration. Her face was tight with frustration. I handed her my Uncle Daniel's old wrench, its handle worn smooth. "Don't force it," I said. "Listen, ask what it needs." Her eyes lit up, and she nodded, turning back to the machine with new focus. That moment was my legacy, not a radar system, but the spark of understanding in her eyes. A letter arrived from Dr. Reynolds, sealed with the Navy's emblem. My rank was reinstated, with back pay and an offer to lead a new radar development team. "The Navy needs you, Sarah," she wrote. "Your courage changes things." I smiled, folded the letter, and tucked it into a box with my uncle's tools. It mattered, but it didn't define me. As the sun sank over the Pacific, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, I sat outside Bay 12, the ocean breeze cool on my skin. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was peace, my own symphony, built from the ashes of my past. I was Sarah Mitchell, engineer, teacher, survivor. I was free.